Welcome to Film Tech and Finance, where we explore the cutting-edge technology and financial strategies driving the film industry today.
Welcome back to Film Tech and Finance, the show where we bridge the gap between creative storytelling, emerging tech, and the economics driving the entertainment industry. I'm your host, Konstantinos Kovanis, and today we are diving deep into a career path that perfectly embodies the very title of this podcast. From the physical backlots of Universal and HBO to the virtual cloud-based workflows of the modern digital nomad, the media landscape is undergoing a massive evolution. Joining us today is a man who has lived through every major tech pivot of the last 3 decades. Let's welcome Richard Carey. Hello, Richard.
Thank you.
Nice. So let's dive into it right away. So tell us a little bit about your background, because we talked a little bit about it earlier. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you started and a little bit of what's going on today.
Well, I've been riding the media wave for as long as I've been able to ride, as long as I've been able to walk. I really started in still photography, which led me to film, which led me to multimedia, which led me to producing and directing for HBO, Showtime, Universal, public television. And coincidentally, around the time of the first internet browsers, in fact, before Mosaic was released, I had an opportunity to consult a large tech company, defense contractor, a member of the DARPA organization, Defense Advanced Project Administration, the people who basically invented TCP/IP networking. And I saw very clearly where it was going. And as a producer, your biggest challenge is getting past the distributors, getting onto the network, ideas are cheap, raising money, maybe a little more difficult, but not impossible. So now you have money, you have an idea, you put a crew together, you shoot a film or you shoot a television production. And if you don't have a network, if you don't have a distributor, what's the point? I was talking to a gentleman in network operations of this large TCP/IP network under a different brand and asked him if it was possible to distribute video over the network. And he said, yes, of course, we could do that. And it was like a ding from my cell phone. I said, well, why don't you do that? Why don't you go there? He said, nobody wants to do it. I see you the next 20 years. I finished a show for HBO I was working on. I went into deep study mode, taught myself the basics of HTML and opened a shop to make e-commerce sites. In fact, 3 out of my 4 first e-commerce businesses are still online, are still making millions of dollars. And damn, I should have gotten points in all of those. Hindsight is 2020. After a time, I lost interest in the pure commerce of software and web development. I'd come from the storytelling and entertainment world after all. And I began looking at other avenues for this tech that I'd adopted. I moved from e-commerce to e-learning. I worked for some of the largest players, Scholastic, Pearson, McGraw-Hill, and then got involved in games, game-based learning. As a gamer myself, I saw that the game mechanic that as a player you need to learn in order to succeed at a game, if that game mechanic it has embedded in it learning points, information that you want the player, the student/player, to leave with, to come away with as deep learning. You had a very effective tool. So I then moved into game-based learning specifically, did some very large projects, 7-figure projects for multinationals to do various things, mainly to train, but also to promote and market. And somehow that led me into digital marketing because those projects really couldn't succeed unless they were visible to their audience, their buyers, their licensors. And then, of course, I've been using, as many of us have, machine learning for many years. But as machine learning became AI 4 or 5 years ago, the first chatbot was released. I jumped on board that shift. And I have found it to be a very valuable partner. It doesn't replace anything. It enhances, it accelerates. I call it the smartest grad student I ever hired. I've had a habit of hiring grad students, master's or PhD students, to do research for me. And they're very good and they tunnel down. Well, obviously AI is very good, but it's also faster.
Right.
and cheaper.
Right.
So here
And
we are.
It doesn't get tired. It works 24/7.
It doesn't get tired. It works 24/7. And I have a couple of agents working now on the 2 new projects that I just started. Are they going to do the project? No, but they're working on background research that will let me do a better product, move that content onto developers that work for me, and so forth, as the case may be.
So this is amazing. So what we just talked a little bit about right now, you are a pioneer in a lot of things because you jumped on it when it was in the beginning phase. You saw the opportunity and you actually did things. You're one of the few people that didn't just saw the opportunity. You actually did it, and that's amazing. Because a lot of times we see something happening, we talk about it, but we don't do nothing. And as you said, the AI right now, well, that's a big thing right now. I mean, in the media industry that we are more involved, I see that everybody is there. Well, there's different opinions about it. A lot of people are afraid of it. Some people are worried about it, but the way I see it is the way what you said is if you learn how to work with it and actually use it for your work, I think it's amazing. And I think it can become a very good tool. And as you said, you can't expect to do everything, at least not yet, but it does make your life easier and better. I mean, if you know how to use it. So let me ask you this. So right now we talked about, you started as a creative, and you moved into pretty much technology with guidance, with creatives, right? Because you pretty much want to move video online and you do the other things. So right now, where are we right now? What is your target right now? Like those projects? I mean, you don't have to get into details if they're not launched yet, but is it more of a creative right now? Is it more of a platform you're trying to build? What exactly is happening now?
Good question. Big question. So as you've gathered, I'm a maker. I started out making things, making media objects, whether it was film or video or e-commerce websites or games or so on, learning technology. So I've always been a maker. And today I use AI not to do the making, but at every step of the process to get there. I think that I would not want to be an animator today, which is a lot of handwork. I'm sure in fact, I know there are some very capable editing systems. So I understand why people are nervous, afraid, scared, unhappy with the rapid emergence of AI. There are issues with the amount of power it consumes and where that electricity is going to come from and how those systems are going to be cooled. But there are also some innovative solutions to that. And in terms of disruption of the employment ecosystem, it's going to hit some people really hard, but it's going to open up new opportunities, in my opinion. I think that as with all of the technologies that I've seen from film to video, faster way of working, no lab involved, so on. I mean, that was a big change. Hurt film companies, Eastman Kodak, who ever heard of them? They're gone, just about. Maybe some tiny stub of the company left making film for people who can afford big budget films. So certainly there's going to be disruption, but I do think that the upside, generally speaking, is greater than the sum total of the changes that will be wrought, that are being wrought by this. The other thing that I can say is that having been through the film to video, the PC revolution, the internet browser, and the social media platforms, the rollout of AI, the adoption of AI, the speed with which the technology itself is being developed, and the speed with which it's being adopted is exponentially faster than any of those previous shifts that I've seen, that I've been in the middle of. I think that in itself carries risk, but I've never been risk averse my entire career. I've always been the one saying, well, why can't we do this? Just because it hasn't been done, it doesn't mean we can't do it. My first computer, I hired grad students from MIT to build a computer to control a multimedia installation. There was no such thing that existed. And I was like, well, of course we can do it. That's just always been my mindset. So futurist, I don't know. Afraid of the future, afraid of tech, absolutely not. Fearless, I just jump right in.
Right. And I mean, what do you see this? I mean, you can't predict the future, so you're not a futurist, but do you see this evolving like to a point where we won't need specific, as you said, specific industries might have an issue. I mean, same thing. Let's put in perspective, right? When the first car came out, right? Anything that had to do with the industry that had to do with horse had an issue, right? Yeah, right. A lot of people that dealt with that industry had an issue. But what happened now? We have mechanics. So I mean, we changed pretty much the industry. So the problem right now with AI is that it's everywhere. It's not only in one thing. So it's everywhere. It could be from.
It's a little bit annoying.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's the thing. And then, but what do you see? I mean, my one concern is you don't see a lot of regulation. So it's not, for example, for the creative, for example, I mean, there's stuff being created where, I mean, you don't know who owns what right now. I mean, sometimes, right? I mean, you might create a video, you might create music. In the past, you knew there's somebody that edited the video or somebody created or produced the video. You know, the actor, the actress, whatever, you could account for the creator and either give credits or give, compensation. Now you have AI where it creates it, but who owns what, right? And how does it create it? Does it pick something?
Last year, I had a friend go through a hip replacement operation. And when I was there to pick them up afterwards, they have the big tote board and patient's name and the doctor's name and where they are. They're in the OR. They're in recovery. They're accepting visitors. And the tote board had patient's name and the doctor's name appended to Da Vinci, surgeon, Dr. Schwartz, and Da Vinci, the robotic AI-controlled operating equipment. So equal billing. I thought that was very interesting. I don't put out content that is 100% AI generated. I use it as a draft. To my clients, I often credit the AI that I'm using so that they have some sense of where it's coming from. But it's always through my filter. There's a lot of attention being paid to Anthropic right now, and arguably Anthropic's generative AI models are the most advanced of any that we know of. But Anthropic is not the only game. I think that, I certainly think that it is the strong foundation most of us should be using. I think it's more, what's the right platform for a given task? Are you generating images or editing images? Are you writing code? Are you doing deep research? Are you drafting copy? Each of the different models have different strengths. They also have different partnerships. One model that I started using very early on was acquired by Meta, and they've acquired now the Meta version of the platform has acquired one of the large web data companies, SEO data. And so for research on SEO projects or analyzing what the right keywords are, analyzing the competitive position or how to outshine the competitive companies, Manus is the name of the company. I think their tool is superior for that.
Yeah.
But so different tools, it's an entourage thing. It's different tools for different parts of the problem.
Yeah, and that's what we've noticed also in our industry is that you can't just use one because everybody's focusing on something specific. And there's no issue having collaborations. Same thing with humans, right? When you need to create a production, you need, a director, a producer, or somebody on the audio. I think it's somebody that's specializing on what they're doing. Same thing, I think, right now with AI. And that raises another issue is like the paid versions of every AI platform. It sounds cheap. It sounds low budget because, $20 a month and whatever. But then when you have to add, 4, 5, 6 of them, or then you hit other walls where in order to do more video, you got to pay more and more. Well, that in some companies changes the budget, right?
Nothing is free.
Right. So again, I think it's a lot more affordable than manpower, but hopefully we will need some humans to do something.
I would not want to be a recent college graduate right now. I would not want to be an animator right now. I would not want to be an attorney right now. I think there are a lot of industries that are going to be disrupted. But there were a lot of industries disrupted with the cell phone, with mobile apps, and so on. So yes, change is difficult, but impermanence is a fantasy. Change is the only constant.
Yeah,
I think you just got to surf the wave.
Right. Perfect. So tell us a little bit about your company now and future plans? I mean, I know we can't go too far in the future with everybody that I talk. I mean, we used to talk about, 10-year plan. Now we're down to like a 2-3-year plan because you never know what's going to happen, right?
A 10-week plan.
Right, exactly. There's no way you can predict what's going to happen. I mean, look at AI, right? Like 5 years ago, we only had, Google search. I mean, that was our AI, for example. That's the only thing that we could use to do a little research of something. Now you have, as you said, all these platforms that are, extremely intelligent and helpful. So your company, well, a few things. Where can we find your company, and what are the immediate, let's say, future plans? Put it that way.
So for the past, I guess, 17 or 18 years, I've operated as Richard Carey Digital Media, or RCDM Studio, as it's been foreshortened, rcdmstudio.com. Yes, you can find me there. We are a general purpose web and software shop, a boutique studio, if you will, much as I did when I was an independent producer. I put together teams for different projects. One I started yesterday, one new one. One I started this morning. Both will have different teams. They're going to run in parallel. There are that work can include design, development, content development, coding, QA, releasing, and ultimately marketing, organic or paid marketing. I have really expert people doing those different things. I'm not the paid marketing guy, but my colleague, Andre, who does great at it, and likewise in SEO. So we're able to cover the spectrum that our clients need. Mostly today, we're focused on professional practices and small to medium businesses. Professional practices, legal, medical, psychiatrists, other social work type of folk, any kind of licensed professional. And then also emerging companies. And the niche that we are serving now kind of bridges the gap between the use of AI, because we offer a service called the AI Whisperer, which is me, basically. And I do have a couple of other whisperers who are available with very specific expertise. So we help those users or those people learn how to use AI productively, creatively, and effectively for their businesses. And oftentimes that leads into developing a more complete system. So we're becoming more consulting, but that also leads into design and building. And it feels like a happy place to be.
Nice.
Because we've been using AI extensively for, I guess, 5 years now. It's, we've gained a lot of experience. We don't publish prompts. There's a million prompts out there, but it's not the prompt. It's which tool is right for the job. It's writing a prompt that has the deep context that the AI needs to perform at its best. And it's also iterative. First draft, never. So you iterate and iterate till you get to that solid foundation that you can then go in and build on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
how does it work? Is it like a retainer-based agreement? Is it like a project-based agreement? If somebody would approach you, what would they expect?
Yeah, D all of the above. So it depends on the scope of the project, but we work on an hourly basis. It's less expensive to book us for a suite of hours for a certain number of hours each month. So we provide a big discount for that. There's a multi-month commitment to do that, but certainly within reason, nothing onerous. And then when an engagement gets to the point where we can define what the product is and how many hours are needed, what software it's going to run on, and so on, then we can move to a project model with phased pricing, kickoff, design approval, and so forth, release.
And then if you create something for, as you said, a professional in let's say the health industry, for example, is that something then that the customer gets a product that you create and they're done there on their own, or do you support that, for the lifetime of that business?
Most of the time we work on a work for hire basis. Sometimes with points, or sometimes with some joint ownership, but usually not. We do work for hire, and we support what we build. So our ideal client has a problem. We engage and we craft a solution, literally craft a solution. We build it, and then we'll operate it. We'll manage it. So we offer a complete service. You don't have to go outside. It gives clients a single source of engagement, one company to do business with, relationship that's managed in a very customer centric way, like that.
Nice. Can you give us an example? And again, I don't want to get into details of a customer because we're not interested in that. Just can you give us an idea on somebody, what type of problem you would solve for them, or is it somebody that would approach you? Because it's very big what you're doing. I mean, you deal with creative, you deal with marketing, you deal with everything. But in general, like somebody would come to you if they need what? Like if I would say, what would be give us an example on what would be that service you would offer.
I'd say there are three big buckets. One, as a consultant, we help people learn how to use AI. I mean, if you're not paying attention, by the time you learn how to use one thing, there are four others. Some are better, but how do you know which one? It's just a constant churn. So we suffer through that. So we know what tools are best, and we help people use it effectively, and we shorten the learning curve. Sometimes clients will come to us with a problem. They have they're selling a book, they're selling a service, they're doing consulting. They have a website where you can book online or buy online, but cash register is not ringing. The calendar is not filling up. So we take a look at that and either completely rebuild, partially rebuild, or fix or enhance what's there so that the customer experience, the customer flow, and the experience of using that product, whatever it is, I think website is probably the most common denominator, but not exclusively, so that it naturally leads the user to the desired outcome, whatever that is for a given business. And the third big area is companies with a problem. Not an existing piece of software, not an issue of understanding, but they want something created or specifically solved. I have a client who loses, as a professional client, professional licensed service, and they've had a big problem losing leads. So their website generates leads, but between the intake person and the account executive, there are a lot of stitches that get dropped. So we took a deep look at their operation, and we counted four CRMs that handle different parts of the intake. Depends on whether they came in on the phone, they came in by email, they came in via the website, and that was obviously a problem. So the solution was to craft, and in this case, AI provides the solution. We created an AI runtime that parses the different CRMs and combines them. Ultimately, I'm trying to convince them to drop back to a single CRM because there is one that they subscribe to that could do all of those tasks. But, change is difficult, and they would rather fix the problem by consolidating.
Oh, okay. It's tailored services to every need.
Tailored services to solve specific problem.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And then, that's how you beat AI, because AI is pretty much, they need somebody like you that would guide it pretty much to the issue, because, if you don't listen to the problem, you can't fix it, right? So I guess that's your big advantage as a company, I'm guessing, listening to the customer, understanding what their need is, and researching the market. And I can say it from us too, sometimes we have issues, and, somebody that has a solution, simple. I mean, but if you don't know the solution, it could be a problem, and it could create
that's also what makes it interesting.
Right, yeah, because that's creative too. I mean, creative doesn't have to be, filming a movie. I mean, that's also creative because you have to find, as you said, a solution. And sometimes you have to, make it, create something outside the box to make it work, right? As you said, they had like a few CRMs. You found the solution with one. If they didn't want one, you found another solution where at least there was no hiccups. So that's amazing.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
And I think we talked about this. You also work as a nomad, right? Because that's another big thing right now. Nobody has an office. I mean, we don't have an office. We have studio space for studio, but there's no need for an office because, again, with technology and AI, we work with people all over the world. And that's a big shift on the industry too. In the past, everybody used to have a specific office and you had to visit and, wake up in the morning, go over there, set up, have your employees. Now a lot of creative work has shifted. What do you think about that? Does it make life easier or harder sometimes?
I think that it's a little bit of both. But last year, at some point, I realized I think there was one client who I had seen face to face, not on the web, but in real time, in meet space, MEAT space, so-called, in a number of years. All of my clients have been virtual. It was a public relations agency that has been a client for a long time. There's a transportation and logistics company that's been a client for a long time. There's an AI company, an AI consultancy that's been a client for a long time. I've never met these people in person. It's just not necessary. So while we are based in Brooklyn, New York, I'm no longer in Brooklyn, New York. I'm traveling in New England, which is a lot cooler than, although right now, that's questionable, but it's cooler than New York. It's certainly nicer in the summer than New York. I have trips throughout New England planned, and I'm in business wherever I land and wherever there's decent Wi-Fi.
Yeah, of course.
So I probably will return to Brooklyn, but I don't know that this is a difference with that AI has impacted. I mean, really, it's a combination of the internet and the after effects of COVID that taught everybody
that pushed it. That pushed it. Because even before COVID, there were companies like that. But after COVID,
honestly, back at the beginning when I had my ding moment that this is the way things were going, or it was the way that I was going to go, I realized that if I played my cards right, I would not have to pay for an office. If I played my cards right, I could do what I do from a mountaintop or a beach. In fact, 4 years ago, I was sitting on a beach on the very edge of the grid. I did make sure that my host had strong Wi-Fi, and I was doing business on my cell phone from the edge of the Pacific, getting things done, managing people, moving the ball forward, and it was just heaven.
Right. Yeah. And those are shifts that, as you said, this has nothing to do with AI, it has to do with technology. I mean, we're reliant now more in, as you said, Wi-Fi or for 5G or, cell service. But again, even that is cheaper than renting, because some cities, as you said, Brooklyn or LA, rents are ridiculous, right?
Great.
So saving that kind of money, you can invest in the company and make more things and better things, right?
I think the downside is relationships with colleagues are harder to engender without some FaceTime, without having a coffee or having a beer after work or whatever, going to a ball game or something. Those opportunities to bond mano a mano or in human terms, are severely limited. So that would be the downside. But I've been at it for a while. I have a global network of people. I have, most of my colleagues are in the New York area, but they're really scattered all over the U.S. and Europe and South Asia and occasionally South America, Central and South America. So I have colleagues wherever I go.
And that's the amazing part of it, because you can find talent wherever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, nice. I guess amazing. This is the good side of globalization. Mm-hmm. It has been disruptive to a lot of industries, to a lot of people. For me, it's been liberating.
Right. And that's as you said, some people see it as negative, but it's nice because it opens, the world became smaller with the internet, right? With technology, technically, because you can reach everything like right away. Perfect. Look at this podcast, right? We're in 2 different cities, and in the past, we had to, if it was a radio show or a TV show, you had to come to the studio, fly, sure, come here, rent a hotel, come to the show, set up meeting. Now we do it, remotely, and, you're from your location, my location. So it's amazing. Technology, as I said again, if you know how to use it and you can utilize it, you can make good things. So, and from what I heard today all day, on this show, you utilize technology very much, and you have been utilizing it since decades ago, right? And so
many decades ago.
Many decades ago.
From pre PC days, where I commissioned a computer to be built,
right?
To AI that's ubiquitous, that's available to almost anybody with a cell phone or a browser.
Right. I mean, you talked about labs for film. Yeah, you talk about labs for film where most of the new creators have no clue of what we're talking about. That's why a lot of people can't understand when some older, producers, directors, they say, "Oh, that's not a film, that's a video." And it's like, what's the difference? Some people, you kids are like, what's the difference? Yeah, because they don't know. They haven't seen it. They have seen just the digital aspect of the video,
Yeah, it's true.
Nice. Okay, perfect. I
have to be careful about the stars that I talk about having worked with, because a lot of them are not with us anymore. Very dating.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah. So, okay, perfect. I mean, we got all your information. I think we got, we talk about technology, history, things have changed. And I think we got a lot of this conversation. Keep us posted of what you do. And if there's anything that you would want to ask right now, go ahead for your company. If you're looking for, clients, investors, creatives, you're more than welcome. And
I welcome hearing from AI users who do freelance work, because we are growing in that area. And I do need a deeper pool of talent. But mainly if you're swamped by so many choices and you don't know where to start, that's where we can help with AI Whispering, which is a one-on-one service. And we set up, the first hour is half price. Packages of hours are discounted, and we'll help you get up to speed. I've just started collecting Google reviews for that. So if you go to rcdmstudio.com or just Google RCDM Studio, you'll see our business page. There are several reviews there of the work that we've done with professionals and small business people, and you'll see how well it works. If you have a problem, if you need a systems level approach to solving a problem, we love that. And I'd be very happy to help. And almost everybody has a website, but if you don't, or you're starting a new product, or your website is not performing, we can help you there too. So rcdmstudio.com is the way to get in touch. And I invite people to do so.
Thank you for your time and all the information you gave us. I mean, I encourage everybody to go and visit your website and see, and then communicate with you and whatever, we're not affiliated in any way, but, if people can communicate with you and, you can help them, why not? That's always a good thing.
That's what we're here for. We're here to help.
Right. We're here exactly. Yeah. And of course you get paid for your service. Everybody needs to get paid for their services. Nothing is free in this life. But yeah, that's something that, I looked up at your work, and, it looks nice, amazing, actually.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, some things are free. I personally do mentoring for the U.S. Small Business Administration.
Okay.
And although it can't be as intensive as it can be if you engage us, if you go to the score.org website, you can actually book me for mentoring in any realm of what we've talked about.
Nice. Perfect.
But I seem to get a lot of filmmakers and television producers, because, those are my back pages. I understand that industry very well.
Perfect. Thank you very much again for your time. And, we'll get this show up and running, and we'll do our best also to promote your business and your company. We're going to have also on our website for Film Tech and Finance, there's going to be information about your company.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to spend this time. Okay.
Yeah, bye-bye.
So long.
Thanks for joining us on Film Tech and Finance. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for more insights and updates.